Hello and welcome to today's live. I'm streaming today in on my YouTube channel, which is Event Trail, and also in my private Facebook group, I Do in the Caribbean. And if you're planning or thinking of having a destination wedding, then you're definitely in the right space. I'm Sandra, and I'm the admin for the I Do in the Caribbean Facebook group. And what I try to do is educate couples looking to have a destination wedding in the Caribbean or Mexico to help them with the planning process, hopefully to relieve some of the stress that they have, and also just to help them along that planning process. So if you're in this group and if you're really thinking of having a destination wedding, then tune in, and I'm going to walk you through the step process, that some stuff you need to think about if you're really having a destination wedding. So let me begin. So having a destination wedding. Give me 1 second. My camera is okay. Yes, so having a destination wedding definitely can be stressful. So let's talk about what's the first thing you need to think about when you're having your destination wedding. So step one, I would say if you're having a destination wedding, you need to start doing research. Just don't jump into it and start, looking at places and stuff. You really need to make sure that a destination wedding is right for you, and look at what the pros and the cons of having a destination wedding is, because it can be overwhelming, and it's more costly to have a destination wedding, especially I'm just talking about with your guests, because all your guests got to fly and they got to have room accommodation to attend your wedding. If you're having a domestic wedding, it's really just them getting to your venue and that's it. So a destination wedding is not just your cost to consider, but just the cost of all the guests that you're trying to invite. How much are they going to pay to attend your destination wedding? And one of the pros and cons is that, if you're having a destination wedding, most time the location you're looking for requires a passport. So do you have an updated passport with you? And making sure all your guests have a passport, because you're going to need one to attend your wedding. The type of wedding you're having. Are you having a legal wedding in which you're legally getting married in that destination, or you're having a symbolic wedding? Because that can definitely change how you look at destinations for your wedding. And as I said, the pros and cons, meaning that you have to travel to this location. It's going to be sight unseen if you don't do a site inspection. So you're hoping that the resort you pick is going to execute your vision for your wedding, and you really won't know that until you get there. So it's really out of your control. Versus if you have a wedding domestically, you can go to the venue, you can meet with the suppliers, and you can really feel, touch everything to make sure it's what you want. So having a destination wedding means you give up a little control, because you have to put your wedding planning vision in the hands of the resort or whatever venue or suppliers that you're going to use to execute your wedding. So that's something definitely to think about when you're having a wedding. Just think about all these things. Is this something that is going to work for you? And the second thing that's more important when you start planning for your wedding is budget. And budget, these are the four things you should at least have in your budget. It would be the cost of the wedding package. And when I mean the wedding package, most packages for a resort could start at, say, $3,500 for the first 20 people. And that's really just the basic things you'll need to have a wedding and maybe have a reception. But when I mean wedding costs, wedding package, I would mean the cost for extra people if you're having more than 20 people. If you're going to have decor, that's going to be additional money. Photographer, videography, DJ, any kind of extra decor you want to have, a dance floor, lighting. These are all things you have to consider. That is your $5,000 budget or $6,000 budget going to give you that wedding that you want. So you definitely have to know what your vision for your wedding is, how much money you have to spend on that wedding. Also, the accommodation. If you're doing a destination wedding, you have to be in location minimum 3 days, which is really too short a period of time. Minimum 5 days you're going to be in destination. What is the cost going to be for your accommodation? So definitely, when you're doing that budget, these are things you have to put in there. the cost of flights, and with what's going on in the economy right now, having a destination wedding, whatever your budget is, I wouldn't say double it, but you definitely have to increase it a lot, because accommodation is costing more money, flights are costing more money, and the extras you're going to need for your wedding is going to cost you more money. And then the next thing you think about is your wedding attire. What items you have to buy to have that wedding, your gown, your the clothes you need, all the accessories, if you're bringing welcome gifts, how much that costs. So all this should go in your wedding budget. And also you should include, if you're going to be paying for other people, if you're paying for your mom and dad to be there, if you're paying for your kids, those are all additional charges or costs that you have to consider. Is it really, is a wedding, is having this destination wedding going to work for me? So definitely have a budget. And when I tell people, I'm an accountant, so for me, I write stuff down, and writing stuff down just keep things in perspective, meaning that whether it's pen or paper or whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, I would definitely take the time to write the pros and cons, all the things you need when you're doing your research, to see before you even make that decision if a destination wedding is really right for you. And in order for you to keep on track, definitely do a budget. You have to have a budget. You have to know how much you're willing to spend, how much you have in your budget, because it might end up being that there's certain things you want you can't have because your budget just doesn't go that far. So definitely budget is very important. Before you even commit to anything, I would say have a budget. The next thing I would say you need to think about is the date you want to have your wedding and the time. And I only throw time in there because a lot of people want to get married, and they want to get married at sunset or get married at 4 o'clock. And there's only one 4 o'clock or one sunset in every day. And most people want to get married on the weekend. So definitely think that the weekend days, Friday, Saturday, are the first days to go. The evening time is the first time to go. So if you're set on a specific date or time, make sure that you're a little bit flexible, because sometimes the date you want for that resort is just not available and you have to look elsewhere. So be flexible with your date and time. As I said, try not to pick major holidays, and weekend, I would say, would cost more money. Sometimes they charge you more if you're having a wedding on a weekend. Some resort do. And then plan early, because I would say if you're planning a destination wedding, you need to start planning at least 9 months out. They say a year out. I'm going to say 9 months out for you to find that, do the research, find your destination, find a resort, secure your wedding date. 9 months. You want to give your guests at least enough time to be able to afford to attend a wedding, or know if they can attend your wedding, and give you enough time to pay for your wedding also. So definitely look at date and time. Be flexible with that. The next thing is identify what destination is going to be the right destination for you. And, that's really a hard question to answer, because everyone has a different vision of what their wedding looks like. So, for me, I wanted a beach wedding. So for me, I looked at resort that most resort all have a beach setting. So that wasn't really the hard part. Hard part is finding the resort that suits what was the vision I'm having for. Was it a luxury resort? Were the rooms nice? Did they had like extra amenities, good activities? How easy is it for me to get to that resort or to get to that destination? If I'm flying from New York, it's easy to get to Mexico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, St. Lucia. There are a lot of nonstop flights to these locations. So when you're picking a destination, you're going to pick it because it's going to have what you're looking for, but also how easy is it for you to get there, the cost of flights to get there, the type of resorts that are there. Is the, like if I'm looking for, it's like a resort, all-inclusive in Aruba, I could find all-inclusive resorts in Aruba. But if I'm going to Bahamas, it's very limited how many all-inclusive resorts you're looking for, especially if you're looking for a family-friendly resort. So try to pick countries that have a vast amount of resorts to choose from, so you have a lot of options. And also, if definitely you're looking for all-inclusive, make sure that with the country you're looking for, the destination does have lots of all-inclusive resorts you can choose from. And then the most popular resort or destination right now that I'm seeing is Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. These are the 3 top locations that couples that come to me, this is what they're asking for. They're looking to get married in these destinations. And the reason is there's multiple flights going to these destinations. There's a multiple resort they can choose from budget to luxury. And getting there is very easy. And, I would say flights are cheaper, but they're not, because I'm going to Jamaica in July, and flights are like $800 round trip, which is a lot. And that's high, but that's summer. So definitely, if you're looking to get married, summer months tend to be expensive because the kids are out of school. And also, if you're planning around any major holiday, the prices are going to go up. So these are things when you're planning your wedding to think about, because it will have an impact on your budget and how many people can actually attend your wedding. Resort. So once you find that perfect destination, say it's Mexico, what type of resort you want. Mexico has a vast variety of places that you can have your wedding, as well as resort, whether it's Cancun, Playa del Carmen, Cozumel, Los Cabos. There is multiple. So it's just Tulum. It's just right. Trying to pick that location that is right for you, and also finding that resort that will match the vision you're looking for. Will be have the rooms you have available. That's a big thing now, and it fits your vision. So if you're looking for a resort, do you want an all-inclusive resort, or you just want a venue, or you just want to pick a hotel and have your wedding at a venue? That is something that you can do also, but you need to decide what you want. I always recommend all-inclusive, because like everything is included. Once a person gets there, all their food and meals are included, entertainment. They really don't have to leave the resort or pay anything additional. So it just makes it easier when I'm inviting guests to pick an all-inclusive resort, because then they know it's one price and everything is included. And also, as I said, what is your vision for your wedding? You want to make sure this resort have what you're looking for. Have a nice beach location that you can have your wedding if you're looking for that. If you're looking for rooftop, they have a rooftop location available to you. If you want to get married over the water, then try to find a resort that have what you're looking for to make your vision come true. And when you look at the resort, one of the most important thing I think you should look at is definitely review the wedding package. You don't want to, book a resort and then you look at the package and the package is too expensive, or it doesn't include everything that you need in there. So definitely, I would say look at the wedding packages to make sure it fits your bill and how much it's going to cost you additionally for you to have that wedding of your dream. Also, look at the room cost. How much does it cost for a 3-night stay? Because if you're inviting guests to come to your wedding, the minimum stay for most resort are 3 nights. So what is the cost for a couple to stay in a resort for 3 nights? And also the big thing you have to check, because so many people have been cooped up in their house because of COVID. Everyone is traveling now. Is there rooms available for the dates you're looking for? And that is something that definitely is a fact, because I have a wedding in October, and all the rooms are already sold out. So, and it's only May, and they were sold out back in February. So definitely think about, when you pick a resort, that you're looking at all these things, the food and activities, like what type of food or restaurants is offered at a resort. Also, what kind of daily activities do they have? Do they have stuff during the day at the pool? Do they have entertainment at night? You want to make sure your guests are entertained, so you don't have to worry about entertaining them, but just make sure the resort has everything that you need in that resort, so people don't have to go elsewhere. But I would say one of the most popular resorts that people are looking at are the Dreams Resort, whether it's in Punta Cana or Mexico, because Dreams Resort is family friendly and it's really at a really nice budget from a room standpoint and also from a wedding package standpoint. So a lot of my couples have been picking the Dreams Resort because there's so many of them to choose from also, and that budget wise it just fits in the budget really good, and it can have really nice weddings at Dreams Resort. So I highly recommend them. So this is just a sample of what a basic setup is. So when you look at most wedding package, it's going to include a basic setup. They'll include chairs for the ceremony. They might have a something like a gazebo, or they might have an arch included. Most of them will, most of them don't. You might have to pay for that. So definitely something to think about when you're looking at the wedding package, to see what's included and how much more money you have to spend to enhance it to look the way you want it to look. So on the left is a setup for a basic, say, ceremony, and on the right it's a setup for a reception, meaning that what they'll give you is white tablecloth, white napkins. Most time it's fold-up chairs. This is a different setup here, but it's just basic. There's no flowers mostly on the table. There's no nothing like that. So it's just a basic setup to have a dinner. So this is what most wedding package would look like. So if you want to upgrade, this is what an upgraded package look like. You have flowers, you have you have more curtains at, you set up the wedding location to look how you envision it to be. But this will cost money. The flowers are going to cost, and if it's most flowers are imported, so it's just based on the cost of it at the time you're ordering it. So that if you're looking for fresh flowers, that's going to cost you money to do the fresh flowers, and to put the drape in on there, that's an additional cost. And those are not included in most basic package. If you look over here in the reception, you see that the chairs are covered and they have sashes behind them. And also there's a table overlay, and there's a small flower centerpiece. So that is to me an upgraded setup. So you have to pay extra for the sashes, you have to pay extra for the overlay, especially if you're looking to have a certain color at your wedding. This is where your color would come in. You probably would change the napkin or have tiebacks for your table settings. So just to show you what a normal what a regular basic setup would look like, you get at most resort. And then if you want to enhance it, how you can enhance it, and it's going to just cost a little bit more to do that. So just to let you know that these things are available, but it will cost you more. So step 6 is confirm. And what I mean by confirm is once you find that destination and you find the resort, your date and time for your wedding is available, you like the wedding packages, there's enough rooms available for your wedding party, then I would say confirm your wedding date. And by confirming your wedding date, most resorts are going to want you to put a deposit down, whether it could be from $250 to $1,000, depending on each resort. You put your deposit down, they confirm the wedding date and time, and you're set. If you're doing a wedding at Sandals, the only difference with Sandals is if your wedding date is available, you have to actually have a room booking set up, and then the wedding can be tied to the couple's room. So you almost have to book a room first and then secure your wedding date, and those two are linked together. So that's a little bit different from Sandals, because you can confirm your wedding at most resort, date and time, and not have any rooms booked at the time. So, the first thing I would say is do that. If you're having over 10 guests at your wedding, I would say you want to hold rooms for your guests to make sure there's enough room available for them to book. So either you're going to have room blocks, either through the resort or through a travel advisor like myself. I can get you a group room contract, and that also will require a deposit depending on what it is, and depending on the resort, what a deposit is, and it'll hold the room for a set price for a set time period for your guests to book when they're ready to book. So that way you're sure that there is room available for your guests by having a room block. Or you can, send out to save the dates, tell your guests where your wedding is, and make sure you give them the right resort, because people, you can put Dreams Cancun, and there is a Dreams Cancun, there's other Dreams in Cancun, so you want to make sure you give them the right one. So always remember to make sure you're very specific on the resort that you're giving your guests. If you want them to book it on their own, they can go ahead and book that as long as they have the right resort. But with a group contract, the couples normally get a concessions from the resort, whether it could be welcome reception, it could be free rooms. So the more, if you have a group contract and you have guests booked within that contract, the couple can get added benefits from that. So I always recommend, if you can, get a group contract, because it just gives a couple more benefits and ways to save. Their room could be free. They could get free flights, because I know there's perk now. If you book over 75 room night, the couple could get $1,000 towards their flight. So that is incentive for you to tell your guests to book within a group and have a group contract. So definitely it's something to look into if you're really looking to do a destination wedding and you're having more than 20 guests, is to try to have a group contract. And I said at this point, once everything is confirmed, I would not send any save the dates out until you have secured your wedding date and time, and you either have a group contract or you know how your guests are going to book. Because once you send that save the dates out to your guests, you can't control where they book, when they book. So you want to make sure all information is correct first before you share it with them. And if you are working with me, what I do for my couple is I create a wedding web page, and on that web page it'll have all information about the wedding and a link for them to book directly or to call me to book, just to make sure everyone has the right information. And I try to I do that for the couple, in which I keep track of all the guests that are booked. So at the end, when it's time for you to have a guest count, I can tell the a couple who has booked if they've booked through that group. So part of it is just, taking that burden off the couple by me coordinating with all the wedding guests to make sure that they book their rooms and they're accounted for on the guest list. So, after you set up the save the dates, really what's next for you as a couple is really start planning the details of your wedding and finalizing that. And for most resort, because they do weddings almost every day, they don't really contact you till maybe 6 to 3 months out, before your wedding date, to start finalizing everything. They'll give you, you know, the menu of things, and you can select all the things you want. But to finalize everything, most time it doesn't happen till 3 months before, because people make changes. And instead of changing stuff every second, they'll wait till 3 months before the wedding, and they'll really hone in and finalize everything you want for your wedding. And at this point, you're making all your travel arrangements, you're making all your flight. If you have booked your room, booked your room. Whatever guests have confirmed that are coming to the wedding, the couple need to know that, because they need to tell the wedding coordinator how many people are coming, and that will determine how much you're going to pay for their wedding package. If you are planning on doing tours and activities, these are times when you start looking if you want to do a catamaran cruise for your guests. What kind of activities is at resort, or what activities you can do for your guests if you want to do that. If you're planning a welcome events, whether it's a welcome cocktail or a farewell event, this is the time you'll start planning for those things also. And when it gets close to time, it's time to pack your bag for your wedding. So this is the next step would be get married, get on resort. Normally get on resort if you're doing a legal wedding 2 to 3 days before your wedding, because you need to get on resort to finalize all the final details of your wedding, and to make sure all your paperwork is ready for you to have a legal wedding. Symbolic wedding, it really all depends on the resort. Sometimes they want you to get there 2 days before, because you land, say your wedding's on Saturday, you get there Wednesday, you don't do anything, you meet with the wedding department on Thursday, go through the fine tune your wedding. Friday, all your guests are there. You have a welcome event, and Saturday you get married. So really, the time frame is really not that long if you're getting on Wednesday for a Saturday wedding. So think that when you're doing your planning, plan to be on resort at least 5 days, because it really takes that much time. And you want to spend time after your wedding, either with your guests, or that's when you want to extend and have your honeymoon. So a lot of couples that I know, I recommend they do a split stay. They do 4 nights first, and they get married, and the next day they'll move and go to either to another resort or to a honeymoon room category, especially when you want to be away from your family, so you can really enjoy that honeymoon. So I always recommend, if you can do a split stay, either do it at the same resort, like upgrade a room, or go to a separate resort away from everyone and really have time to spend with your spouse. And as I said, after that, it's happily ever after. So you're going to enjoy your honeymoon, enjoy some quiet time with your significant other. And, this again, this is my wedding in Jamaica. And as I said, I understand what it feels like to plan your destination wedding, because I've planned mine before. And I am here to help you with any questions you have on planning your destination wedding. If you want to set up a meeting to our consultation with me to see if I'm a good fit to help you plan your wedding, I'm more than happy to for you to schedule a consultation with me. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not gonna say no. The whole idea of this group is to help couples plan their wedding if they want to do it on their own. But if they need help, I'm here to help them. So that is what I have for you today. So again, if you're joining me on YouTube, thank you for joining me, and hope I can see you next time I go live. And I try to go live every Monday at 4 p.m. in this YouTube group, and I go live in my Facebook group for my I Do in the Caribbean members. And these are members who are looking to get married in the Caribbean. So any information that I can give you, or if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Until next time, have a great day.